My name is Mark Knudsen, and joining me today as my co-host, we haven't talked to her for a while, so I'm excited to see what's going on with her. I like to welcome Tricia to the show. Hey, Tricia.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here, Mark. And today we have a special guest. We have Mike from WACOSA, which is a day program in St. Cloud, and he's going to be here talking to us about theater and arts and a program that they have coming up. So I'll have him introduce himself and his two colleagues.
Okay, let's go to Mike then.
Hi, Tricia, and hi, Mark. Thank you for having us on. Again, I'm Mike from WACOSA, and I organize our Connect Academy classes. And as part of that, we have a large focus on theater arts because theater and performing arts are so important for everyone, right? And it's just such a great way to teach people with disabilities, really. And we do have with us our two of our teaching artists, Heather Mastromarco and Nicholas Pawlawski. And we're very happy to have them on board with our classes. Welcome, Heather and Nicholas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. And it's so exciting that you're able to put together a production, especially during the pandemic when everybody's like looking for things to do and keep their hobbies active and socialize and things like that. Where did this idea for your production come from?
So the idea for the production, I think it came, we started doing classes when everything was closed down and starting to reopen a little bit, but a lot of people weren't able to come into program when things were closed down because of the pandemic. So we started to do our virtual classes with our Connect Academy. And right away, I reached out to Heather and Nicholas because I had known them from previous work and asked them to come aboard and help us with the performing arts within our classes. And as people started to take the classes and develop their dancing skills and their theater skills, we thought it would be really wonderful to give them an opportunity to showcase what they've learned. And so that's how it came about.
Nice. I like that. And Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, let me the thing I'm kind of curious about is, I mean, you're putting out, I guess we could go a little bit into the production. This is like a regular type of production show. I guess I'm not exactly sure what the production is.
Well, it's going to be a play, and
Okay.
we're in the early stages of planning the play. And Nicholas and Heather and I have been meeting, and we've been talking to the performers about what they want to do. And it's a really exciting possibility, exciting event that's going to be happening.
So the play then, is it, when you do this play, then will it be one that you have kind of just created, or are you going to be doing a play someone knows and adapting it for this production?
Let's Heather and Nicholas, you want to chime in here? And
so we will be creating this whole production with our group. So we've been working on many elements over the last year or so. How long has it been? I feel like it's been a while. Just working on different theatrical elements. I know Nicholas is working on a lot of dance. We'll have dance as an element in it. We've been working with puppets, so that will be an element. So we're really building it to everyone's strengths. So there'll be so many elements like from what we've been working on in classes. So it's going to be really
custom, a real custom
kind super of custom. We're
super
building
custom.
it from the scratch all the way to the end.
So more like improvising or not based on anything scripted or previously written. Is that right, Heather?
Correct. As far as improvising, that's how we'll get the ideas, but it will be have a format to it. And we're still in that process of building. It's not finalized yet, so stay tuned.
It's be adapted to the abilities and passions of our performers.
Nice. And what do you perceive as some of the challenges? We have probably some people maybe in wheelchairs or makeup and everything. There can be a lot of challenges just in regular theater, and now we bridge in people with disabilities. Do you foresee any challenges that, Heather, I guess?
Yeah, so definitely the venue we've chosen is very accessible. It's a new theater space that's going to work awesome for us. There is, for myself, there is a lot of adapting that happens. I'm fairly new to working with people with varying abilities. So a lot of times I'll have an idea and I just have to break it down to everyone's strengths. So there, with movement and those types of things, just using, thinking of it more of what can you do? Let's work on that strength.
I like that. I like that a lot. And since you've already done some classes with those individuals, do they just seem like super pumped and excited?
Yes, they're very excited for this show. We talk about it every week in our class. Yeah, and throughout the classes, you do learn what those strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, I want to do the puppet show. Other people are kind of like, I want to work with the lights. I want to do more of the technical element. And there are so many of those options to choose from. So there's a role for everyone.
Yeah, and when you say that individual who's like, oh, I want to do puppets, do they have a background in it, or did you just kind of like teach them and then they're like, oh, I'm super psyched up, I enjoy doing the puppet work or things like that?
Yeah, so it really, I guess their passion for it really came from the classes. We started, we started with just using our hands and moving our hand as a mouth. And then we brought in sock puppets. Everyone got to choose a sock and we decorated them. And some people actually, there's, Mike, maybe you want to tell this story. One of the participants actually got this cool puppet for Christmas because she was so excited about doing puppets in theater class. So I hope we can use that puppet in our show.
Yes, Mike, do tell us of that story.
I absolutely love when I see the work that we do carry over into individuals' lives, into their lives at their home and their lives with their family. And Margaret, she showed a love for the puppets. Every time we would bring on puppets, she would light up. And she made a really cool sock puppet when we did sock puppets in our classes, and another one where we made paper puppets. And she just showed, she lit up with excitement for it. And then for Christmas, her sister gave her a puppet, a very nice puppet. And now she uses that puppet. I think she even brings it to some of her appointments with her, and she uses it with her family. And it's just, it's for me, it's heartwarming to see the work we do carry over into people's lives.
Yeah, I bet that is so great. I myself remember like doing improv and bringing in socks. And one time I brought my son's sock and I didn't know he had a hole in it, and that just built it off that improv. Like, hello, no. But
one of the puppets that we made for one of our classes.
Is
my Mike Nichols puppet.
Nice. Great. You'll have to make a Tricia Karlberg puppet and a Mark Knutson puppet next. I love that. But I bet that really helps people kind of get out of their head during the pandemic and create new characters. And, like there's just so much to theater that we don't know about, like how it helps us and things like that. Is that what you get, Mike, from that too?
Yes, it gives people an opportunity to learn new creative ways to express themselves. We work a lot on it, even as simple as feelings. When we all practice being angry, that's very helpful for people. That's very therapeutic for people. And when we do storytelling, we have dice sometimes that we'll roll to tell stories, and they'll just have little images on them, and we'll turn that into a story, and the people end up bringing in their personal lives into those stories. It's very helpful and engaging.
Okay, cool, interesting. Now I'd like to talk to Nick here about the as it's called, the dance element, I would imagine. And if you could just give us a little bit about what's involved in there. And I don't want, the different way you may have to approach dance with this type of student and that. So yeah, talk about the dance component of this production.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I'm an artist, and I've been working with people with disabilities for about a decade. And I have found that one of the most effective ways and really beautiful ways I have found to communicate expression and to relate with one another is through dance. Now, there are maybe as many ways to dance as there are people in the world. And so we don't really focus on learning particular dances like a waltz, for example, because a waltz has a certain step. I'm really confident that all of us can move together to music in our own way. And when we're able to use music and dance kind of like a language, we're able to bridge and communicate with each other. We're able to communicate with people with various abilities, and the wider community with, I get to use dance to, family members can connect, staff can connect, artists can connect. All different kinds of people can use this vehicle of dance to really communicate and to experience and participate in something together.
So that was kind of one of my, just as you had started off, that was going to be that's the thing I was thinking about was going to be my question, is because when you see dance, there's that structure and routine. So you take that part out of the dance and have the people kind of dance to, I mean, I would imagine you kind of have somewhat of a, I don't want to say vague, but somewhat of a routine you're hoping that they perform out there, but how they go about it is up to them. Is that kind of more or less what you do with this type of a production?
Well, it's kind of like I've been dancing and learning and practicing dance for all my life. So in many ways, I know a lot of the rules of dance, and then I break them. And that is a beautiful place to go.
You're my kind of guy breaking things. Go ahead. Sorry, keep going.
And the question kind of comes up with, and it really taught me a lot. I was once about 8 years ago with a family who loved to dance, and their grandma, who was in a wheelchair, also loved to dance, but she's in a wheelchair. How can her family share that love of dance that they had with grandma who's in a wheelchair? And we realized that we can dance with someone in a wheelchair. Someone can hold their hand. Someone can maybe push behind and move to the music. And before you know it, the whole family was dancing to that music that grandma loved so much and
Right.
was tying that family together and building family memories with family experience in the present day, not just the old days. And that's powerful. And no one had to know the steps to have that experience.
Yeah, because I will I will admit I'm kind of guilty. I kind of tend to use my disability to get me out of dances with my wife at wedding receptions and all that. But there is a small print in the marriage contract with her. I have to do at least one dance with her. So I will do usually a couple, but you're right. I mean, all fun aside, I mean, I'm just not a dancing person, but I could definitely feel like when I'm out there, dancing, that you're part of the movement. And I mean, she sits on my lap and moves me. I mean, that's one of the ways. You're right. I mean, trying to move around can be difficult. So the way we dance is a lot of times is that yeah, she'll hold my hands and then guide me around, or being that we're married, she can sit on my lap and I hold on to her. But then with her feet, she uses her feet to move us around in that. So you're right. I mean, even no matter what physical ability you have, even if it's just sitting in one place and all you're doing is I shouldn't say all you're doing is this, but if your function is what is this, then do it. Be involved. Because I mean, I don't need to tell you, because you know that. I mean, being involved like that just brings a lot of good feeling. And I kind of always wondering about dance, how could you do it in a wheelchair? But now, as I've seen more and more how elaborate some of the wheelchair dances can be, in that, I'm like, man, that's beyond my ability, really, / creativity in that. So yeah, no, I think the dance is a very intriguing thing to explore for any type of whatever the disability is that you have, because you can participate in that. So
Nice. And I too, I do dance as well. And like if I'm at the YMCA or something, I'll try to go along as fast as I can, right? But if sometimes my legs get so stiff, and then I'll have to improvise some movement to keep up. And I think as long as you do it and you're putting all your energy into it and you're trying your best, then that's all they want. You know what I mean? So, and moving on to the production piece of it, where did that grant, can you talk a little bit about that, Mike, and how you got that grant to help with this project?
Yes, definitely. The grants are through both the Minnesota State Arts Board and the Central Minnesota Arts Board. And of course, they're made possible through the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. And we wrote for the first grant to help with engaging people with arts through the pandemic, and then received that grant, and we're very grateful for that. And it's been like amazing to be able to bring on Nicholas and Heather as teaching artists through that grant. And then we wanted to have an opportunity for an in-person, as things with the pandemic were starting to look like there would be a day where we could start doing things more in person, and theaters are starting to open up. We wanted to give the individuals who have been doing these classes that opportunity to now be in person together and have live rehearsals together, and then be up on a stage and perform and dance for their friends and family and for the community.
Yes, and that's so great that you're able to do that. And not to get off topic, but Heather, you mentioned too that you, this is maybe only a couple of projects that you've done with people with disabilities. What kind of work do you do outside of WACOSA?
Oh, so I am a theater artist in the St. Cloud area. I've been here for about 11 years. And I do a lot of things theater. So I direct, I write, I love sketch comedy, I perform, I also teach workshops. So I do a lot of things theater. And actually how I got connected with WACOSA was WACOSA connected with a local theater company and they brought me in to teach some workshops. And then our relationship has continued from there. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that free-spirited nature and just going with the flow with, whatever comes. Mark, did you have any other questions?
Yeah, so Heather, when you started working with WACOSA, is that the first time you've had interaction with individuals with disabilities in the acting, in the theater world?
I worked on another project in the St. Cloud area with a different organization. So
Okay.
I have a few little experiences, but WACOSA has definitely been the biggest experience with people with differing abilities and a rewarding experience, I will say as well. It's there's a lot of joy. There's a lot of joy in these classes. And I just think it's so magical to be able to laugh with each other and be silly. And I think that's what I enjoy most, just like getting in there and being silly, having a good time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's how me and Tricia do it.
Yeah.
Doing improv and that. So we
Nonstop
have a
silly.
tendency of liking to be silly. And before the pandemic, I was doing open mics. So
Cool.
yeah, the comedy's kind of I will say it is a fun thing to do. I will say that. So I guess I'm intrigued with the dance component too. And let me bring Nick up here. And so Nick, is this maybe I already asked this, I can't remember, but is this the first time you've worked with individuals with disabilities in dance, or have you worked with other programs in that too?
No, it's not the first time. I've worked for about a decade with the disability community in the Twin Cities and wider Minnesota.
Oh, you have then? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you list off any theaters off the top of your head or any projects?
I've worked with Epic in
Okay.
Dundas, Minnesota,
Mhm.
and with oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get the names.
No problem.
And in the Twin Cities, the major one. I'm sorry right now. Yes, so different organizations here in the Twin Cities. I also worked with Kairos Alive, who has worked with disabilities for many years, and so yeah, I've been.
And with the different types of disabilities you've worked with, I would imagine it's been a wide range of disabilities, from
a very wide range of disabilities.
Cognitive to
Cognitive
physical.
to physical. Yeah, and I found that using dance has been a very extraordinarily effective way to reach a wide variety of disabilities. I have danced with people who can only blink their eyes. And I found that to be a tremendous experience. And with all different ranges, people who are verbal and nonverbal, a lot is communicated through dance. And it lifts up verbal communication to an extraordinarily important height that it already is, that we often take for granted, right? They say that communication is about 90% nonverbal, and dance exemplifies that nonverbal communication. And it's tremendously important, and it gives a lot of permission. It gives a lot of freedom to both the person who's dancing and the people around them who are dancing. or not dancing, who are witnesses or participants in a different way, by being by offering that that possibility. And possibilities are really endless when it comes to dance, with everyone in their own ability.
I think, can I say something about the classes here with Nicholas? The thing that, one of the things I like most that Nicholas does is he has people lead and gives people the opportunity to lead dance as an individual, and then the whole group. And we're talking probably about 50 people in each class with Nicholas's dancing, dances along, following the lead of that person. And it's based on their ability, right? Because it's what they're doing. It's what is their lead, and they change up the dance. And I think that it gives them permission, right? Permission to be themselves, and permission to lead, and to feel good about themselves. It's beautiful.
I kind of feel that dance right now for the disabled is right at this point where I think it's just going to even start taking off a little bit more, because it's getting more visible. Because, you know, at first when something just starts, you see it, you're like, oh, really? Yeah, they're not. How are they going to do that? But then you start seeing it more and more people get keen to it and are, you know, wanting to do it more, because they can actually see, oh, I can do it with whatever type of disability I may have in that. So go ahead. Yes.
The world of dance right now is really highlighted with professional dances like Dancing with the Stars, and really professional dance. And the world is big enough for that. But if we scratch the surface of dance, we see that dance is really relational and really community focused. And by bringing dance in this capacity, it's big enough to hold all of us with all of our abilities. And that's really important when we're looking and exploring, what does community look like? What does it feel like? Who is in our community? And how do we have a community experience, right? Dance is a very important way of getting to those, asking those questions and getting to those answers in a really beautiful way.
And I think the challenge is that, which obviously you know, is that dance just isn't something where you have to have a choreographed routine type thing. I mean, dance can be more than just that, because that's, I mean, for your production here, that's what it's going to be. Because I mean, it's going to be choreographed to a point, but there's got to be a lot of freedom involved because of the participants, correct?
Yeah, there has to be freedom for the participants and freedom for the audience, because we need to grant each other permission. And we can do that if as artists and as facilitators, we facilitate and maintain a safe space. And that's very, very important in doing this work. It doesn't just happen, because everyone has an opinion about dance, and we all have certain, or about art in general, and we all have different comfort levels. And so one of my most important jobs is to make a safe space where that can happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're coming towards the end here. I think we've probably got about a minute and a half. I always, for me, whenever I do these interviews, I sweat bullets, because I'm like, what are we going to talk about for the 30 minutes? And then I tell myself, well, just forget it and have a conversation. And that's why we do it this way, because, I look at the time now and I'm like, okay, well, where did the time go? So I guess what we should do is bring Mike into the conversation to let him have the last few words that he would like to say about what's going on in that. So, Mike, it's all yours right now, sir.
Well, thank you. I know we only have a couple minutes here, but I do want to say that I'm also a parent of a child with a disability, and Laszlo, young, he's 5, he's in a wheelchair, and part of why I do what I do now, I've been doing it for a long time, but a big part of why I do what I do now is wanting to make sure that he grows up in a world and do what I can to have him grow up in a world where nobody questions whether he's going to be dancing if he's in a wheelchair, or whether he's going to be an actor or a lead on stage in a play if he's in a wheelchair, where the opportunities are there for him just as much as they are for anyone else without any limitations. So that's part of why I do what I do with WACOSA. I'm looking forward to our show, and I hope that lots of people will come. It's going to be open to the community. It's going to be on June 11th at Tech High School. It's a brand new Performing Arts Center theater, gorgeous theater. Oh my gosh. I'll send you a picture so maybe you can show it. Oh gosh, it's beautiful. And our performers are all super excited to be part of this show. And I hope you guys can make it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna tell the wife, I think we're gonna make a trek up there. It's gonna be an interesting, I'm really curious to see how, the production comes across on like Heather's side, the theater side, and then Nicholas with the dance side. And I'm just kind of curious, I'll be kind of also looking to see how much hair you guys pull out of your head. Mike, well, I don't know, you don't have to worry about, whoa.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
A sensitive
Well,
topic.
Heather, it's all up to you. So, but no, I want to wrap it up here. Once again, thank you, Nicholas, Heather, and Mike, and Tricia, as usual. Thank you for joining us, Tricia. And this has been Disability Landscape. And this is Mark Knudsen saying goodbye.